Hi, welcome to another episode of Unleash the Healer Within. I'm your host Shadi, and today I have a very special guest. Her name is Dr. Nisha Chellam, and I had the opportunity to be with her and know her for the last few months. We were in a very beautiful transformational program together, and she's a very dear friend of me. So Dr. Nisha Chellam is a traditional trained MD who calls herself a recovering physician who has chosen to move away from medications being the only option for sick patients. Using the principle of functional medicine, she is able to transform people's lives and mindset so they may live a life of joy and love. Welcome to the show, Dr. Chellam.
Thank you so much, Shadi. I'm so excited.
Yes, thank you. I'm super grateful. I know how busy you are, and putting this time aside to be part of this summit is amazing. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine.
So as I was reading your bio, this word recovering physician is
Yeah.
just popping up. What does that mean?
Yeah, sure. So traditionally, when I had this ambition to go into medical school, my uh, thought process about what I was going to be doing was I would see somebody who's sick or suffering, and then I would be able to get them the help they need, and they will get all better. But instead, what I've noticed is over the years, this is like my 25th year in practice. And what I've noticed is patients come to us with a problem, and I have to figure out what that problem is. And then I have to give it a name. Then I have to connect it to a drug. And then I have to send them for surgery or for more testing. And a lot of times we're just guessing. Yeah, I think this is what you have. This is what you will take. It'll get better. That's why we have so many medications for one condition, depression. There are so many thousands of medications for depression. Similarly, you have several medications for high blood pressure. If we knew why somebody has high blood pressure or why somebody has depression, we wouldn't have so many medications. So it dawned on me during my years of practice, around 10 years into practice, I realized like I follow all of the standard guidelines. They tell me this is what you have to do when a patient comes to you with diabetes. And yet my patient's diabetes gets better, but they get worse. And this is what happens. Depression gets better. They get a flat mood because they get put on a medication, but they get worse. And over the years, that's what I notice is patients will get disease after disease, drug after drug. They get better as far as their symptoms go. Their blood sugar gets under control, their cholesterol is good, their blood pressure is good, but they get worse. They continue to age and they actually become sick. And that never made sense to me. And I'm like, what are we missing? And that's when I discovered this whole practice, a different way of thinking. So functional medicine, if people don't understand what that is, it's not holistic medicine. It is not like I give just herbs and natural treatment. I actually look for the root cause of why you have a problem. Instead of saying you have high blood pressure, I would say these are the things that are happening in your body, and that's why your pressure is high. So let's take care of these things, and your pressure will become normal. So, high blood pressure or diabetes is a symptom of an underlying problem, right? So, when you figure that out, it's much easier to work with patients and actually make them feel better. Because people walk around for years not feeling well, and unfortunately, almost 67% of the population is on some drug or the other or have some diagnosis or the other. So it's become common to have disease. Therefore, we think it's normal. And what I realize is disease is not inevitable. It is not normal. And it is not normal to have a disease just because you are old. And when I say old, people consider 50 as old, right? And it doesn't become natural for you to have a disease just because you're in your 50s or your 60s. What I realize is disease is a choice, and we can shift the way we think, the way we live, what we eat, whom we hang around with, and actually get our health back. And just that knowledge made me realize I am no longer a traditional physician where you come to me for a condition, I name the condition and give you a drug. Instead, I will figure out why you have it and try to work with you and get to some sort of a resolution so you don't continue to accumulate disease processes. You don't continue to get sicker as the years go by and just have more and more drugs, but you actually get better with the very first symptom. Does that make sense?
Yes, that you mentioned a very powerful point, and also I love this line that health is the choice. So
Yeah.
you choose to be a healthy person or not a healthy person. So how does it affect our lives? Like these choices, where does this choice come from? Like to be a patient, not to be a patient.
Right. So choice, when I put the word choice, people may misunderstand it as I'm blaming them. You're choosing to have a disease. It's not like you're choosing to have a disease. It's a choice because we're not making ourselves aware of options, right? Now, in everything in life, we have a choice. You go to a restaurant, you want a choice. You never go to a restaurant that says, okay, I only have this dish on the menu, right? It's not fun.
Mhm.
But in life, we have made our health as just like a simple thing. I have a condition, I take a drug. That's my only choice. And what I want people to understand is your choice is a lot. The thing is, have awareness. Like shows like yours brings that awareness to people that there is a different way. There's a different way of thinking. There's a different way of living. So when I say choice is, do you choose to wake up in the morning and decide not to go and exercise because you don't have time for it? Do you choose in the morning or during the day to go and just snack on something that you know is not healthy? Because nothing happens, right? Nobody dies because they ate a donut. Nobody dies because they eat a cup of ice cream every day. But eventually they will die from a disease from that cup of ice cream for 35 years. This is what people need to understand. We all know what is right and wrong, but we make little choices every day because there are no immediate consequences. The other choice we do is we look at our parents. They are suffering from arthritis or they may have had a cancer. We'll say, oh, it runs in my family. You're not even looking at how can I not get this? How can I not live like my mom? How can I get to be healthier than my mom and be there for my kids? Live there for my kids, be a grandmother that's able to, run around with her grandchildren. Those are the questions we get to ask. And so what I want people to understand is you can make that choice to be healthy. You don't have to, like, just because a doctor said, oh, you have diabetes, it doesn't mean you're a diabetic for the rest of your life, right? You have the choice of asking the doctor, how do I not become a diabetic? What do I need to do? What can I change? And that choice, I want people to know that you have that choice. And the other thing I said, which is very important, is just because something is common, it doesn't make it normal. It is common for women to gain weight after pregnancy. It's common for women to have depression after they have a baby. It's common for women to lose their hair after a child. It's common for women to lose their gain weight after menopause, but it is not normal. And I want people to understand that there is a reason why this happens. And if you work with the right kind of physician, you can actually get to the root cause of why you have the problem and resolve it. Does that make sense?
Oh yes, it's so powerful. Like we get to see what is causing the root cause of it. I always say in everything I'm doing that what is
Yeah.
the root cause? Because that is
Yes.
the main thing. And just going doctor to treating the symptoms is not serving anyone, I believe.
Right. And I will say your recovery is not based on your doctor. You're the best doctor you can ever find. Your recovery is based on what you're willing to do. And that's why the topic of our conversation is 5 ways to unlearn how to be a patient, right? And that's actually the most powerful thing, information that I can give people so that they
So tell us
appreciate that they
about
have
it.
the power.
Yes, tell
Yeah.
us about it. How can we learn to unlearn being a patient?
Yeah. So there are usually 5 steps. First of all, I always tell people, listen to your intuition. Most people know when they get sick, why they are sick. I'll give you an example. When you work in a job that you hate and Monday morning blues, you get to have the Monday morning blues, and you're really looking forward to Friday. And then when Sunday night comes, you're getting very depressed. You know that the job is sucking the life out of you. And then you just wake up one day, you have this knee pain, you have the back pain, you have a headache, and you go to the doctor and say, I have all these things. I think my mother had them. You're trying to deflect the true cause of your problem, right? And so I want people to step back and listen to their intuition. When they feel sick, why am I really sick? Why do I feel the way I do? You will always be able to get to the reason for it. Unfortunately, people come to me, a physician like me, after 25 years of suffering. They will suffer till they cannot take it anymore. And I want particularly women, men are a little better. If they have a problem, they will try to get to the root cause and try to get rid of it. But women tend to put everybody else before themselves. They will take care of their whole family, their children. They don't have any time for themselves. So what I want people to understand is the best gift you give to your family is you. So if you're healthy, you get to be a treasure to your family. You don't want to be a burden to them. So take care of you. Listen to your intuition. Make a shift the minute you know something is not working. That's number one. Number two, let's say you have a condition you're not able to take care of, right? You have a tumor, a lump in your breast. You want to ask questions. I'll give you an example of a patient of mine who had breast cancer. She had stage 2, and she went to the very first oncologist who wanted to put her on radiation, chemotherapy, and everything. And she said, wait, let's go through this. Is this tumor something that will respond to chemo? She started asking questions. And before you know, in 90 days, she realized that tumor of hers would not respond to chemo. And so she was able to avoid chemo, just do surgery and radiation. So ask the right questions. Don't assume that your doctor knows everything. You are a unique individual. And just because this is what I tell people, if 10 diabetics come to me, 10 of them have to be treated differently because each one of them has diabetes for a different reason, right? So you have to ask questions. Number 3 will be take action. This is not the doctor treating a problem that came from within you, right? When you have a disease, it's coming from within you. And when you're looking for solutions from outside of you, a doctor who knows the disease, but you know you. This is what I tell, again, most folks is physicians know the disease process. I know the disease better than you do, but you know you better than I do. So you need to be 100% a participant in your care. Unfortunately, a lot of people will go to their annual physical exam and they'll get blood tests. And if you ask them, oh, what did your last blood test show? Oh, my doctor's office didn't call me, so I'm assuming no news is good news, right? People don't even want to know what their blood tests showed. What if your doctor forgot to see your blood work? Or what if they forgot to see it or missed something? You want to take action. You want to be an active participant in your healthcare, in your disease management. You get better outcomes. When the patient is passive, invariably they will actually decline. You have to be an active participant. Then the next part of it is very difficult. This is hard for all of us, is to take responsibility. If I have cirrhosis of liver because I've been drinking every day for the last 30 years, I have to own it, right? You can't go and say, oh my God, I have this problem now. I think it was the drug that they gave me 2 years ago that damaged my liver. I see this all the time. People will not want to own their responsibility. They have a stomach ulcer because they've been popping ibuprofen from the outside because they've had aches and pains or pain during their periods. And then they have an ulcer and they'll say, oh, it was because the doctor gave me a medication. I got an antibiotic and I think I got an ulcer. They will try to completely move themselves away from their own disease process. Never do that. The minute you take responsibility of your health, you have power, right? And the other responsibility you never want to give up is, don't let anyone tell you it's in your genes, because there's nothing in your genes. There's only information in your genes. You do not have diseases in your genes. That information has to get translated for that to become a disease or a health based on your environment. So take responsibility. Everything that you can do for yourself, you can 100% do. But for that, you have to take responsibility. Does that make sense?
Yes, exactly. So when you were talking about the gene, many people say it is in my genetic, my family running it. So
Yeah.
when these kind of people come to you, how do you talk to them? Like, what is your response?
Yeah. So, medicine has advanced so much now, we can actually do your genetic testing. We can do your genetics and actually see if you are at a risk for disease. This is what we know about genes. We have a risk for a disease process. I'll give you myself for an example. 9 of my aunts and uncles are diabetics. So when I was about almost a decade ago, when I got into functional medicine, I was a pre-diabetic. And I thought, oh, it runs in my family. And I'm a physician, right? That's what I tell patients, like, it runs in your family, so you're going to get it. So I just assumed I was going to be a diabetic. And so I started taking metformin. But here's what I realized. When I got trained in functional medicine, I realized I had a choice. I don't have to be a diabetic. What I realized I needed to do is to change a few things that my parents and my aunts and uncles did and that do not serve me. So the minute I shifted that, I know today, like almost 11 years later, I'll never be a diabetic. It doesn't matter what is running in my family. It's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to my kids. Because now I have the power of understanding what my genes tell me and what kind of an environment will turn on that gene or turn it off. So now I've turned off the diabetic gene by how I live. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we tell patients. You have the power to change. You just need to find the right person to help you make the.
Yes, that's so powerful. So how mindset can affect this process, like your power of mind?
Yeah, and that's the last part, right? You have to change all that you know to change. One of the bigger challenges is most people, I see a lot with cancer patients. When they get a diagnosis of cancer, you have two kinds of patients. One that is in so much shock and they are afraid they actually will die because they are so afraid of the disease. They feel like their whole world is shattered. And the other will be get the diagnosis of cancer and will say, what can I do to change this? What do I need to do? What do I need to know? And I have patients who will do just about everything. They'll change their lifestyle. They change their relationship. They'll change their stress. They will eat differently. They will work with multiple providers. When I say providers, not only their oncologists and their primary care, but a functional medical doctor like me, a nutrition specialist, or somebody who knows how to give them a naturopath who can give them the right supplements. So you need a team of people to actually get you better. You never give up hope. You never tell somebody else you're going to die, right? You never, first of all, as a physician, no one should take away hope. Though we don't give false hopes, we never walk in and tell somebody, oh, you're going to die in 6 months, so get your affairs in order or spend as much time as you want with your family. And that breaks people's minds. What I want people to understand is when somebody tells you something like that, you have one of two things. You can rise up and work and find out more answers that will work in your favor, or you can just accept that answer and lay down and die. And a lot of times, I just want people to understand you don't have to do that no matter how catastrophic your diagnosis is. We have heard, and I'm sure there you can find innumerable stories online to find out how people who were dying of multiple sclerosis or being told that they would be disabled for the rest of their life, or who've lost their ability to walk because of severe neuropathy from diabetes, or who have had a heart attack or a stroke from diabetes, actually completely recover and lead normal lives because they made that effort to change. So if you're one of those is looking for a different option, get online. This is a world of information. I don't think there's any better place than like listening to these summits and going online to find those patients that have made a huge impact in their life, the life of their families. And that's information that is powerful for you to make that change. And it can be done. That's what I'm here to tell you, is what you want can be done if you're willing to actually work for it. And, you know, I did a recent interview with somebody who said a very powerful statement. There will be sacrifices that you have to make to get something. Otherwise, that something will become the sacrifice. So we have to sacrifice certain things to get to where we need to be. If you don't do that, what you want becomes the sacrifice. And I think that was a very powerful statement that I tell my patients also now. So what are you willing to sacrifice to get to a point of health and wellness? Are you willing to sacrifice your job? Are you willing to sacrifice the cookies? Are you willing to sacrifice sitting and watching TV for 8 hours of the day and do something different to get to that, you know, optimal life and health that you naturally deserve?
Yeah.
That's really how people should be thinking.
Yes, that's so powerful, that momentary pleasure and joy, which may end up to like a lifetime issues that they struggle and they get to take medication. I don't think it's worth going through. And I'm just so excited that this is another way that they can go. This path that you're showing and the other speakers is so powerful. So
Yes.
if you want to talk about the signs of disease and health issues, what are those?
Yeah. So your body speaks to you all the time, right? So one of the most, I think people respond most to changes in their skin. Like if they have acne, or if they have a redness, or they have psoriasis, those things, they will seek help right away because on their face. But sometimes you can get it on your knee, you may get it on your legs, you may get it on your elbows, you may get it on the back of your neck. Skin is a huge organ of your body that speaks to you. Any skin problems, automatically you need to look at what is going internally. Most of the times we buy creams, lotions, and try to put it on, and there's so much of work that goes from outside. Again, let me tell you, your skin is really controlled from inside. So what is creating the problem with the skin? So look for skin issues. Number two is a very common problem, which are gut issues: heartburn, constipation, diarrhea, bloating sensation, or just feeling like, I always have this pain in my stomach, or sensitivities to food. Multiple food sensitivities, right? You're sensitive to most of the healthy foods. I find people who say, oh, I can't eat greens, I can't eat vegetables, I can only eat bread. And that is a huge problem. That means you have a gut problem, because bread is not a natural food for us, right? We make it. But what is naturally grown, if you're not able to consume that, then there's something going on in your gut. So any gut issues, don't just go buy over-the-counter Tums and Miralax or Metamucil just to have a bowel movement. Figure out, why am I constipated? What is not working? What am I not doing? Or what do I need to shift? Those are the questions you want to ask. Then the other one is sleep. If your sleep gets disturbed, you are a light sleeper, you're getting 3-4 times up at night, that's a huge sign that something is not well. And those are the folks who will have chronic health issues and assume that they can't do anything about it. So sleep is the time that the body repairs itself. the body actually detoxes, right? It gets rid of all the dead cells, all the old stuff, puts in new vitamins and minerals. So sleep is so essential. So if you're not getting enough sleep, that should be another reason why you want to dig deep and find out what is not working. Why are you not getting sleep? And the next one, it's not any less important, probably is the most important, is your mood. When you have those mood swings, you feel anxious some days, you feel depressed some days. Literally, these are people, very rarely, like 2% of the population truly has a psychiatric problem. Majority of the folks who have depression and anxiety, you can look at their gut, you can look at their inflammation. There's a lot of inflammation that we all have, and we don't realize that. And how do you know if you have inflammation? If you're constantly aching, you are constantly tired, you want to look for signs of inflammation. That can be done with a blood test. Or you have a lot of swelling in your joints, you have skin rash that's red, and there are a few other signs of inflammation that sometimes, like hair falling can be a sign of inflammation, canker sores, recurring viral infections, like if you have herpes simplex, they call them the mouth sores, or zoster shingles. These are all signs that you have an underlying inflammation, and that can affect your mood. It can affect the function of your hormones. So mood disorders, you always want to work with someone who's looking at reducing your inflammation, fixing your gut issues, and you'll find that your mood automatically gets transformed. You're not as irritable, you're sleeping better, you're not depressed. And it takes some time. Let me tell, this is the other thing that I have to tell people. If you've been sick for 10 years, it'll take you at least a year to feel better if you're going to focus on your health. So people that are sick for 10 years, they come to me within a week, they want to feel better. It doesn't happen that
Wow.
way. It takes a lot of undoing. I would say 90 years of concentrated effort at regaining your health, working with someone will get you your health back. So it's as simple as that.
But yeah, when a patient come in and they want that fast track, so what is your response? What do you usually do with them? Like,
So when people come for a fast track, first, obviously they are desperate, right? And you want to ask them questions. Why do you want to get well? Now, if I have somebody who says, oh, I just want to lose weight because I want to look good for the wedding, that's not a good purpose. That's not a good why. That person is going to fail. So a lot of times I don't take patients into my practice if I feel that they're not there. Because I've learned it takes a journey to get to the point where you want to be healthy. Same thing, if you want to be wealthy, it is a journey you have to make. And you have to develop certain habits. And at the point that you want to get healthy, you have to have a very good why. So for me, my why was, I was useless to my kids. I was constantly annoyed, irritated. I was gaining weight. I was losing my hair. And I had a poor self-esteem because things were not going my way. And I was a physician. So my why was very powerful. I was ready to do just about anything to learn about health. I learned about disease going to medical school, but I was willing to learn about health and the art of healing. And that took me on my journey. So I find that people also have to go through that journey in order to realize, you know what, if I have to get well, I have to be willing to take that new journey. So you made a journey to illness. You'll make a new journey to wellness. Are you willing to go on that journey? This is not a switch that's flipping on and off, right? It is absolutely a journey that's going to take you to where you want to go, and you choose to go. So it has to be a choice. It's not something you do on a whim, because that's not going to last, which is why we have so many weight loss programs in this country. People, they thrive. People constantly lose weight and they gain that weight and some more. Like Weight Watchers is a multi-million-dollar industry because of that. Supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry because people are willing to pop a pill to get results, and it doesn't happen that way, because it's like the first domino fell that caused you disease. You got to put all those dominoes back up in order to feel well. And it has to be done in a very systematic way. There is no quick fix. If you're looking for a quick fix, there are several franchises that do that, and you can get a weight loss very quickly. But if you're truly looking for lasting health, you need to be educated, you need to be involved, and you need to want it. So I look for all of those. Is a person coachable, and do they really want it? Do they have a big why as to why they want to be healthy? That's always an open conversation that I have with every patient.
It's amazing. They have to like fit you in order for you to be able.
Yeah, we have to be a right fit for them, right? Otherwise, it's going to be a stress for them. If they don't want to change anything, I can give all the gifts that I have to someone, but if they're not willing to receive it, the gift is valueless.
Exactly. That's so powerful, because half of the journey is just overcoming whatever is root cause, like whatever is creating them, like in the first place, whatever is creating that disease.
Yeah, but you can't blame people too. They've been told for years together that there's nothing that can be done, right?
Mm-hmm.
It runs in your family. There's nothing you can do. You're going to be taking this medicine for the rest of your life. When you're being told that over and over again, it takes a long time to undo that messaging that they have received. So the work I do is very, it's a long work. It takes some time. It really gets to the deep roots of, uprooting all those beliefs that don't serve you, and then giving you that opportunity to show that if you are involved, you can make a huge impact on your health.
Mm-hmm. That's the power of working with your mind and body at the same time.
Yeah, you can heal from very much from within.
Yes, that's so powerful. So do you have a specific program that you offer to the patients, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so we have actually several programs, right? Everybody has, I've tried to make this easy for people, and some people just would like to, they don't have the money to invest on one-on-one. So I have group coachings I have online do-it-yourself programs, as well as one-on-one. If somebody is willing to work with me one-on-one, it's not very unaffordable, but everybody, to spend on their own health, they think a lot. So I always tell them to start getting themselves educated. There are so many free videos on my website which helps you understand what functional medicine is, how to address many of the medical problems. So if you're looking for gastrointestinal health, diabetes, everything, I have a video for just about everything. And I will tell people, just educate yourself first, and then when you're ready, then we can get into whatever. Do you want to go into a group coaching structure? Do you want to work with me one-on-one? We have so many options. And the goal for me is to educate my patient, because if they get to work with me, I want them to understand about their own health fully well, so that when they leave a program with me, they're independent. They don't need me anymore. They are not dependent on drugs. They're not necessarily asking questions like, what do I do? They know what to do. And that's the power of educating a patient to understand their own disease process, their own body, and understanding how they respond to stressors and what shifts they should make that makes them feel better right away. Mm-hmm. So it's a completely different track. And all of those, whether if you're a very motivated person, you could do it on your own. If you feel like, I'd like to hang around with a community of people that will keep me positive and healthy, then a group sessions are very good for you. And if you say, I'm very shy, I want one-on-one, because I just get to, I can only understand if you talk to me one-on-one, and then you have that option too.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. And based on what you are sharing, I believe that 99% of the work is coming from us, like whoever is,
yep,
as you said, it's responsibility, and owning this responsibility that it is me, my body, and we get to
my job is to just guide you and let you know, hey, you're headed in the right direction, and make those iterations if I feel that needs to happen, because I get to see you from outside, but you get to do a lot of the work, because that's permanent work.
Yes, that's why we heal from inside out.
Right. Yes, absolutely. You're right.
Yeah, beautiful. So I remember when we were talking about like the whole summit, you said you have a gift for the audiences. Can you talk about that gift, please?
Sure, yeah. So my own journey into functional medicine was because I struggled with Hashimoto's and did not know of it till I learned about functional medicine. So I've written a book on the consumer's guide to understanding thyroid disorders. So it gives you a stepwise approach to address thyroid diseases. What kind of blood test should you be asking for from your doctor, and helps people understand what they can do different to overcome their thyroid disorders. So I think it'll be a very useful book for most people.
Yes, thyroid can create a lot of, like we can create a lot of health issue with our thyroid in our body. That's that. Thank you so much for the gift you're sharing. And also, if people wants to know and get in touch with you, where can they find you?
Sure. Our website is holisticicon.com. So it's Holistic and Integrative Center of Novi. We're located in Michigan. And we have a Facebook page, which is Holistic Icon Community, which people can join into. And we allow public to come into the group because my goal has been to teach. And Nisha Chellam MD is my Facebook page. And I have an Instagram, which is also Holistic Icon.
All right.
So yeah, you can find us on so many platforms.
Yeah. So all the information you just shared, they're on there. This video, the audience can see them. And
Sure.
I want to say thank you for all the wisdom you shared with the audience. I learned a lot myself, and I'm sure.
I really appreciate you having me on, and I enjoyed actually having this conversation. Thank you again.
Thank you. And to all of you audiences that you watch us, thank you again for joining our summit. We're gonna have another episode. I'm gonna see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching and have a very blessing day full of love and light. Bye.
Thank you.